Welcome to the Nothing Much Just Chillin' Show with your hosts Emma and Julio. Nothing much, just chillin' show. Nothing much, just a chillin'.
Welcome back to NMJC, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Emma, and this podcast is a heart-to-heart. It is a FaceTime between friends, so if you're into that, stick around. Last week's episode, I was talking about my hobbies and how I'm getting back into soccer, and I was all excited about it, and literally the next day, like the day I posted that episode, I sprained my ankle during a soccer game. Or I don't know if it's sprained or rolled. I think I did sprain. I don't know. It was really scary, honestly. Like I heard a crack and I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I feel a lot better now. My ankle feels a lot better. I can walk now. Like the day after it happened, I was limping all day. 2 days after, I was limping, and it was very, very humbling. So actually last week, the night that I got back from that game where I sprained my ankle, Julio and I watched Mae Martin's comedy special, and it's called Sap, and it's literally about what I was talking about on last week's episode, about how life fucking sucks and you need to find the things that bring you joy in life. The whole special is so amazing, and I really encourage you guys to listen to it. But at the end, you know what? I don't even want to spoil it, but basically she's like saying that like comedy for her is what keeps her going, is what makes her happy. And I think that's it was just so beautiful. It was just an amazing special, so definitely check it out. What else have I been watching? Oh, we've been watching Narcos. I finished season 1. We're on season 2 of Narcos Colombia, Pablo Escobar. Narcos is fucking crazy because it's all like true. Well, it's not like 100% true, but like most things are true. Like Julio's seen it before, but he's also like looking up like if things actually happened. But it's kind of like you're watching history, and yeah, it just makes you fucking hate Pablo Escobar, honestly. He's so fucking annoying. I hate him. I hate him so much. But I mean, obviously, like he killed so many people, so like it's not like a bunch of people probably hate him, you know. It's not news that he's like a bad person, but like just seeing it, this like reenactment style TV show, Pedro Pascal, he's really good in it. But yeah, it's a great show, but like it also on the other side is like, oh fuck, like did that actually happen? Like is this actually how things played out? Because if so, Colombia was going through it. Another thing that we're watching is Succession. I think the third episode of the fourth season just aired on Sunday, and we're kind of like back to square one. I mean, I know the show is called Succession, but like the whole thing of the show, I guess, is just like who's gonna take over, like who's gonna succeed after like the head of the company dies. It's crazy because like that question was asked like in the very first episode, like the pilot episode, and now it's like the third episode of season 4, and that question is now up again. But it's like, what? I don't know. It's just like what has all happened like between then and now, like kind of just like doesn't matter, and it's just kind of like we're back. I don't know. I don't really know about the show now, if I love it as much as I did seasons 1, 2, and 3. Even 3, I don't know. Seasons 1 and 2 were really good, but I'm still gonna watch it. I still find the show very entertaining, but if you want something to watch, I guess watch it. I don't know. I'm not really recommending it to you guys. I'm just saying like I'm gonna be watching it, but like I don't even know if I like it at this point. A lot of stuff goes over my head, and I'm kind of just here for like the ridiculousness of the dialogue, actually. Like is disgusting. Honestly, sometimes it's very, very crude. And yeah, I mean, I guess what keeps me like watching it is because the acting is really good. I think the actors are very, very good, and it's very, I don't know, it's like this whole different world. And is it satire? I'm pretty sure it is satire. It's funny at times. There's definitely some comic relief, but if I'm not going to give any spoilers, but if what happened last episode actually did happen, then we lost like a big part of that comic relief, or we lost a big part of the entertainment. But yeah, the things that I want to watch next are, I want to watch The Last of Us. Oh, I really wanted to watch Narcos before I watched The Last of Us. Like, I wanted to watch Pedro Pascal in something like way before The Last of Us to just kind of, I don't know, get familiar with his acting, I guess. He probably plays like a completely different character in The Last of Us, but whatever. I really want to go to the movies to see Air. I've heard that that is an amazing film. And then I want to watch Beef on Netflix. It's starring Ali Wong and Stephen Yeun. You know what is really entertaining? Overhearing a first date. Julio and I, when we go out to eat or when we're anywhere in public, like our favorite thing to do is eavesdrop. And he'll know. He'll be saying something and I'll be completely zoned out. And he's like, "You're eavesdropping, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm sorry. Can we continue this conversation later?" Sometimes it's just nice to like sit in silence, eat our food, and then just like listen to conversations around us. And sometimes they're really fucking interesting. Sometimes they're really fucking irritating too. But we went to Wallflower, which is one of our favorite restaurants. Also we went there after we did like a photo shoot for a photographer. She was doing like a one-on-one workshop with a beginner photographer. And so they were both taking pictures of us in Malibu. I made like a joke on my Instagram how like we look like we're in a cult, and we literally did. Like anytime like a photographer like sends me like the mood board inspo, like the fashion inspo, and it's just like a girl in like a flowy white dress, I'm like, I'm literally gonna look like I'm in a cult. It's like a very like culty vibe. Obviously, I know like the photographer, she's amazing, and it's gonna come across very like artsy and beautiful and bridal and lovely. Like it's gonna be great, but it's just when I have those types of outfits on, I'm just like I feel like I'm in a cult. So anyways, we went to Wallflower after, and there was a first date, definitely a first date next to us. And the guy was just going on and on and on about his like assets and how he's about to buy like a $4.5 million home, and how he just had a meeting with Chase and just got approved for $1 million line of credit and like all this stuff. And he was just like talking. And we did not hear the woman who he was on the date with. I didn't hear her say one thing besides, "Should we get cocktails?" And I was just I actually laughed out loud, but it just like acted like I was like laughing at Julio, but I was like, that is so funny. She was like, I need to be drunk right now for this conversation, because he is insufferable. Last weekend was really fun. We did a lot of like social things, which is not that common for Julio and I. Actually, I don't know. I would say we're like on the scale of like really fucking social, being with friends all the time, goes out every weekend, that being a 10, and then 0 being like a hermit. I feel like we're probably like a 4.5. I don't know, maybe like a 5. We do a bunch of stuff, but we kind of just do a bunch of stuff together. But we did some stuff with friends. This weekend, we had our friends Maya and Josh over for dinner on Friday, which was really, really nice. They brought their pet Peeves. Their dog's name is Peeves. Well, it's not their dog, it's their roommate's dog, but the dog's name is Peeves. And I just think that's the cutest fucking thing. Like, she's adorable. Anyways, you probably saw a picture of her on my Instagram. So we had them over for dinner, and it was a really nice night. And then the next day we went to this like flea market, vintage market. It's called After Hours, and my friend actually started it, my friend SJ, and she's an incredible vintage reseller person, but she organized this whole market, and it was actually insane how many people were there. Like, there were so many vendors, food, tooth gems, tattoos. Julio and I got tattoos. If you're watching on video, I got my little Pisces. I've been wanting a Pisces tattoo for a really long time. And as you guys know, I have a Himsa right here. And I thought about this for like 3 years, honestly, before I pulled the trigger. I've been wanting a little Pisces for a very long time. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to get it. And the tattoo artist was actually amazing. Her name's Sienna. Hi, Sienna, if you're listening, because I told her about my podcast. But yeah, it's so cute. I love it. I can't wait to get like more like little ones on my arm. I really love just like really little tattoos, you know, but I'll probably just keep on going back to her because she's amazing with her line work. And she did Julio's tattoo as well. He got like a rose right here. Oh, we met up with our friends, Josh from the night before, but Maya was doing something else that night. So Josh joined us, and then our friend Risley joined us as well. And then Julio and I went out to Melrose Flea on Sunday, and that was chaotic. It was chaotic being on Melrose on Sunday because everyone and their mother was there shopping for their Coachella outfits. So yeah, Coachella is this weekend, which now that I'm thinking, I was about to be like, oh yeah, since we were so like social and like out and about last weekend, we're probably going to be hermits this weekend, or we're just going to like work on stuff around the apartment and just chill. And I have stuff that I want to work on personally. But now that I think about it, this weekend is actually like the time to go out and do things in LA because nobody's here for Coachella. But it's fine, whatever. We'll probably do something next weekend. Okay, so if you saw the title of this episode, you know kind of what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about why it should never be okay to comment on people's bodies. I am putting a trigger warning right here, right at the top before I say anything else, okay? Trigger warning, I'm going to be talking about body image, eating disorders, stuff like that. So if that is triggering for you, please stop listening. And if it's not triggering for you or you feel like you can handle it, let's have a heart-to-heart about this. I want to hear your guys' thoughts after the episode. Please DM me, text me, call me, whatever. You guys know the drill. And also, disclaimer at the top of this, I am not an eating disorder expert. I am not a body image expert. I am not a doctor. I am not a nutritionist. I am simply a girl who has dealt with insecurities, body image issues all my life, but not ever in a way that has been like too detrimental to like living my life. So take everything that I say with a grain of salt. You choose what you want to agree with, disagree with, and let me know. Let me know what you think, basically. I honestly really wasn't going to talk about this today, but because of what has just happened with Ariana Grande, people were speculating that she must be sick or must have an eating disorder because they saw current pictures of her where she was just like skin and bone and really skinny or whatever. They were like making comments on her appearance and then judging her on it and like putting a medical diagnosis on her from the pictures that they saw of this person that they actually don't know in real life. And I just love her response because most times celebrities don't respond when the media are being so critical of their physical appearance, or they're saying, you know, oh, she looks this way, whatever, like she's too thin, she's too big. Most celebrities just are like, oh, that's just the way it goes. That's just life. That's just the media. That's just the world, you know? And I don't think that we should be thinking that way anymore. I think that there is a clear right and a wrong in this situation. And I don't think it's ever okay to comment on somebody's body, whether it be in a good way or a bad way. I personally think it's wrong. So if you don't know, she basically made a TikTok response being like, I'm okay, I'm healthy, I'm fine, I'm actually in a great place in life. Sorry, the fucking sirens. Feels like we're in downtown again. Yeah, she basically was just like, why do people think it's okay to comment on people's bodies? Like, I think that should stop. And I don't like when you guys comment on my bodies. Like, you don't actually know what's going on. And it's just weird. It's just weird. It's weird behavior. It's really sus behavior. It's really, it's just like icky to do that. Like, I've never ever in my life seen someone either online or in person and made a comment about their weight, good or bad, unless they bring it up themselves, you know, unless they're like, oh, I've been on this like weight loss journey and like I've lost this amount of weight and I feel so much healthier. I'll be like, oh, like good job, like good for you. Or like, oh, I've needed to gain weight, like I gained 10 pounds like healthily, like I feel so much better and like I can sleep better, you know. I'm just like, oh, good for you. So I only comment on it if they bring it up first. Don't get me wrong. I've given many a physical compliment. You know, I've said, like, you're beautiful, stunning, pretty, sexy, stylish, cool, you know, but I've never used the words skinny or fat or anything like along those lines. Like, I've never asked, like, have you lost weight? Have you gained weight? Are you struggling with your weight? Like, you look so much different than when I saw you last. Like, I've never, like, that's none of my business. And I don't even ever really like notice. I actually had a friend in high school who was a little bit younger than me, but we had similar interests that we became friends through those interests. And she had an eating disorder. I remember she came into my summer job once and she had just gone through treatment for her eating disorder. And when she like came into my job, she seemed like shocked to see me, but I was like so happy to see her. Like I hated my job. I hated my job. I was like, oh my God, yes. Like a friend, like, hi, how are you? Like I need something. I need a joy in my life right now because I fucking hate this job. And as I was checking her out, or, like not checking her out, but like I was a cashier, like I was checking her out, she looked at me and she asked very timidly, do I look different? And I just looked at her, I looked at her eyes, and I knew exactly what she meant by that, but she didn't look any different to me. So I just said no. Like, I was just being honest, right? Like I really didn't see a difference. But in that moment I was like, oh my God, like what's the right thing to say in this situation? Like, am I supposed to say like, oh, you look so much better, healthier? Like, no, I think I did say the right thing by not like making it a big deal. I was just like, no, because she literally did not look any different to me, but she probably felt different. I'm sure, I hope she believed me because, yeah, I mean, what can you do? But anyways, she's much better now. She's much healthier, happier. I think she's pregnant. So that's amazing. But I'm a big energy person. When I'm with somebody, I feel their energy. I feel how they make me feel. I'm noticing how they're talking about certain subjects. I'm noticing how thoughtful and kind and generous they are, or how blunt or how hard on themselves they are. But I'm never thinking something negative about somebody's appearance unless they have something on their face or in their teeth. I mean, that's the golden rule, right? Like, treat others the way you want to be treated, but also like, do not make a comment on something that someone should change about their appearance if they can't change it in 10 seconds or less. And that's what I've always lived by. And I've always said that. So, like I said, huge disclaimer, I'm not an expert on eating disorders or anything like that. Obviously, guys, I'm, you know me, but I've never had an eating disorder, but obviously I've had like bad body image days, but that is just being a human. That's a very human thing. Like we all go through that. But yeah, even if somebody like had something to say about my body, I just think very logically. Like, I'm incredibly emotional as a person, but like the way I think is very logically. And logically, if someone is saying something about your body, that's saying more about them than it is about you. Let me repeat that. If someone is making a comment about your body, that's saying more about them than it is about you. Hopefully you get that in your head. Even in high school, there was this girl who didn't like me for good reason. Her boyfriend cheated on her with me, but I didn't know. I thought they were broken up, but even so, like, that was not nice of me. I really regret that. That was just an awful thing for me to do. But anyways, later in life, I started dating this guy, and she went up to him at a party and goes, "Why are you dating Emma?" And he was like, "What?" And she was like, "She has weird toes." And when he told me, at first I was like, "Do I?" And then I was like, "That's the best you can do?" She has weird toes. That's the best you can do. That's the insult that you can come up with. My toes are weird. They're not, by the way. I'm not going to show you guys, but you guys just have to take my word for it. But I looked at my toes and I looked at the guy I was dating and saw he was laughing, and he, didn't care about what she said, obviously. And I was like, okay, if that's what she thinks, then that's what she thinks. My toes aren't for everyone. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't change her mind and get her to like my toes, or I also can't change the way my toes look. I know that story has nothing to do with weight, but you get the picture. Okay, now I want to talk about almond moms. I don't know if the term almond mom originated from TikTok, but that's where I learned about it. And an almond mom, it refers to a mom that when her daughters tell her that they're hungry, she's just like, eat a handful of almonds. Think Gwyneth Paltrow, bone broth for breakfast, or like Yolanda Hadid, like not letting Gigi and Bella ever have like burgers, They're always trying to manage their daughter's weight and put their own insecurities about their bodies onto their daughters without thinking of the harm that it could cause, such as orthorexia and other eating disorders, not feeling worthy of love unless you're skinny, under eating, which can cause hormonal imbalances, gut issues, digestive issues. The list goes on. And yeah, even though I'm like, oh yeah, it's like this thing on TikTok, like a bunch of people make jokes about it, like on TikTok, about how they grew up with an almond mom. It's like, it's not funny. It's actually like very serious. And in some cases, it can be life-threatening. I think that most of the time, Gen Z is probably like, it's just, they're so much more knowledgeable about this stuff now. So hopefully like the cycle stops. But most times, like in the past, like an almond mom can turn into an almond daughter. And I had this friend when I was about 13, we'll call her Betty. And Betty definitely had an almond mom. Like I'm pretty sure her mom was always in like Lululemon, or like just worked out or was working out, and, very skinny, that kind of thing. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, like a lot of my friends that went to this like other school had almond moms. Like I remember one of my friends, her mom would put pictures from like magazines of like models and celebrities in, looking really like fit and thin or whatever. Like she would put pictures of them on the fridge so that the daughters, before they open the fridge, they have to see these models and be like, and contemplate like, oh, is it worth it? That line, like nothing tastes as good as skinny feels, like that kind of vibe. Like, really? Are you really going to eat that? Like that's an almond mom, right? Like just eat an almond. Just eat one almond and you'll be full. Just drink some water and you'll be full, What were we talking about? Okay, Betty. I don't remember who we were talking about, but we were talking about this boy that liked this girl. And I remember Betty making this comment about the girl's appearance. And I remember what she said so clearly because at that age, like you're so impressionable, and it just like stuck with me. She said, ew, who would like thunder thighs? And that was the first time I heard that term. And I remember like suddenly becoming aware of like how my thighs looked. And shortly after, I was having a conversation with one of my guy friends. We'll call him, you know what, we're just going to call him his real name because it's actually like a compliment to him. His name was Andrew. And I was expressing to him that I felt so self-conscious about my legs because of this comment. And he just goes, Emma, you don't need to worry about that. That's muscle, and you play sports and you're strong. And I was like, they are strong. You're so right. Why am I being self-conscious of something that is, one, my genetics, and two, helps me perform on the field? These legs of mine are worth so much more than their physical appearance. I don't know, what he said just like really, really helped me. And yeah, thanks, Andrew. He's never going to listen to this, but I think he's actually married now, and I think he has a kid. I think somebody told me. I think it's a girl, but if so, his daughter is very lucky to have him, and I was very lucky to have him as a friend. People remember the most how you made them feel. Were you kind? Were you a good listener? Were you supportive? Were you there when they needed you? Did they feel inspired by you? Did you make them a meal that they never stopped thinking about? Did you teach them something? Were you a part of a lesson that they needed to learn? I can guarantee you that if somebody cares so much about what your body looks like, that means that they are unhappy with their own. Do not internalize people's opinions about your body. Do not give someone that power. And if somebody is constantly asking you questions or making comments about your weight and you feel uncomfortable about it, you can set a boundary with them. You can say, hey, I would really appreciate it if you stopped commenting on my weight. And if they love you, if they care about you, they will stop. And if they don't, well, you have every right to create distance between you and that person. But if it's someone you live with, obviously that gets to be more difficult. And to that, I would say just like, don't give them energy back. Just like if they make a comment, just walk out of the room. Just ignore it. don't give them that satisfaction. You have every right to have a boundary when it comes to people talking about your body. Even in Ariana Grande's instance right now, like of people being like, oh my God, I hope she's okay. Like, I hope, oh my God, she's lost so much weight. She must have an eating disorder. Like, that's not your battle. Worry about yourself. And at the end of the day, like, we just never know what somebody's going through, especially like in the workplace, right? Like, how many times have you overheard somebody on Monday, or I mean, even said yourself, oh my God, like I ate so much this weekend. Like I got a juice cleanse this week, or, you know, like they're your coworkers. They don't know, you don't know what kind of relationship they have with food. You aren't on that like personal level with them. So like if you're like constantly like critiquing your body in front of them, in front of anybody, we're all impressionable in that way still. Like it's not just like adolescents, it's not just teen girls. Like take that kind of like language just like out of your vocabulary. Just take it and erase it. It kind of reminds me of that scene in New Girls where Katie is at Regina's for the first time, and like all the girls are saying like all their insecurities in the mirror and like saying, you know, whatever. And Katie was like, I never knew that there was that many insecurities, because she didn't grow up around normal kids, you know, she grew up in Africa around fucking animals and like her parents, right? Think about like her in that situation, in that scene, just being like, oh my God, I never knew that there was this many insecurities. Now you're aware. Like growing up, if you've ever been a girl and like getting ready with your girlfriends and someone's saying like, oh, like I feel fat, or I feel bloated, or my hair sucks today, blah, 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 like just constantly like talking down about themselves, like that affects people. And then you can really get in your head when you hear stuff like that, because you could be thinking like, oh my God, this person's so stunning, so beautiful. Like, why are they insecure? Should I be insecure about this? Because I don't even have what they have. Like, it's just, you can go down like a spiral in your mind. So I would just say like, take that rhetoric just like out. Just throw it out. Just no one needs to know about your diet. No one needs to know about your juice cleanse, you know, like just no one needs to know about that. I don't know. You're probably like thinking like, oh, well, Emma talks about veganism, but veganism is not a diet. It is a lifestyle in which you try your best to limit the amount that you contribute to animal suffering in the world, you know? So it's not a diet. And when I bring up veganism, I'm never like, you need to eat like this, or like you need to do this, or like I lost weight doing this, you know what I mean? Like I'm just never talking about it in that way. But yeah, and then I would just say like make it normal. Make it normal not to say all that shit. Make it normal to have a good relationship with food. And what I mean by that is like make it normal to order dessert when something catches your eye on the menu. Make it normal to eat soup on a cold, rainy day. Make it normal to make a turkey and cheese. I make obviously vegan turkey and cheese sandwiches, but make it normal to make a turkey and cheese sandwich with a side of chips when you go to the beach. Oh my God, I love salt and vinegar chips. Those are my favorite fucking chips. Okay, now I'm just making myself hungry. Okay. Make it normal to eat popcorn when you're at the movies. Make it normal to melt chocolate chips on top of popcorn while you watch a movie. That is top tier. Make it normal to go out to eat and just get whatever you're craving. Make it normal to have fun going to the grocery store to get ingredients for a fun new recipe that you saw online. Make it normal to eat hot chocolate with a bunch of marshmallows. And that's what I call marshmallow soup. I love marshmallow soup. Make it normal to need a sweet after eating dinner, and then needing a salty snack after that on the days before your period when your body is begging for it. Make it normal to eat whenever you feel like it. Make it normal to eat more one day and less the next, just because you're listening to your body. And make it normal to dance when you take the first bite of homemade mac and cheese. Make it normal to moan when you take the first bite of a brownie sundae. Make it normal to get excited about trying a new restaurant or trying a new recipe, or sharing a meal while catching up with a friend that you haven't seen in a while. I don't blame anyone for not acting the way that I have detailed in this podcast of like how I think that someone should act, or what I think is right and wrong when it comes to like talking about people's bodies and people's weights and stuff. Like I don't blame anyone for being a certain way, because I think it's just fucking society. It's the world we live in, and it's hard. It's hard. I mean, this whole episode was probably just like a fuck you to like diet culture and like fitness stuff, but like I don't care, because I've seen people with eating disorders. I've seen people with a bad relationship with food, and it can be really fucking scary, and it's more common than you think. It's way more common for somebody to be insecure than confident about their bodies. So we all just need to be a little kinder and a more aware of like what the rhetoric is, like what we're saying, what's coming out of our mouth, like who's hearing it, and who's impressionable around us to decide for themselves, like, oh, I also have that insecurity, or like, oh, I should be insecure about that now, or like, oh, I also should diet, or oh, I also should lose weight, or I also should gain weight. Like, we need to be very, very careful with our words, because words matter. So hopefully if you're listening to this now, you know better, so you'll do better. Again, I'm not saying that like everything I said is 100% correct, but I'm just saying that, I mean, I guess that is what I'm saying. I'm right. I should stop second guessing myself. Like, this is my opinion, you know, like I am very firm in this opinion that like you shouldn't comment on people's bodies. With exercise too, like everyone should be able to eat the way they want to eat. Everyone should be able to exercise the way that they want to exercise. Obviously there's so many nuances, because obviously I want people to be healthy and live like long, fulfilling lives, but you can't shame anyone into making healthier choices. You really can't. You need to do it with love. And you need to do it with compassion and patience, because it could go south very, very fast. I'm just so glad that Ariana Grande made that statement and pretty much was just like, it's fucking whack for people to comment on other people's bodies, because I think we all needed that. I think everyone needs to hear that. And, you know, obviously she has much more followers than me, obviously. So she can do way more good, but I just want to reiterate the fact that like I totally agree with that. I really don't have a question for the end of this episode. I guess it's just like, if you like this, and yeah, let me know your thoughts on it. But I hope you guys have a great day, whatever day it is for you. I'm sorry this is a little later in the week that I'm uploading this. Yeah, really had to get my shit together this week, but yeah, thank you as always for listening, and thank you for chilling with me, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.
Nothing much, just a chill